A man and a baby are mauled and killed by pit bulls in Coffee County.
3 dogs involved in a deadly attack along a Katy walking trail.
Yeah, these images posted by Precinct 5 showing the final moments after a 4-hour search for a pack of dogs that mauled a man to death, then attacked a mother and her child.
Hello again.
Let's tackle a critical issue that demands our immediate attention.
The pervasive nature of dog culture, which is often celebrated without critical examination, inevitably fosters an environment where violence becomes a significant societal concern. The sheer ubiquity of dogs in public and private spaces means that people are constantly exposed to them. This widespread presence leads to a consistent threat of attacks.
And here's the thing, it's not only a threat, attacks are a guarantee. And violence originating from dogs, although it is a societal concern, is an inevitability.
As long as dogs exist, so will their attacks upon us.
Statistics consistently demonstrate that dog attacks are a regular occurrence, resulting in millions of injuries annually, many of which require medical attention. But what I want to focus on is in the difficulty in protecting oneself from these incidents.
Dog sympathizers don't seem to give a damn when dogs hurt people, or even when they kill people, or ruin what's left of their lives if they do survive an attack. But anytime there's even a chance that a dog somewhere is harmed by a person, even if the harm is slight, or if it's a use of force that's fully justified, the internet loses its mind.
Kick the dog. Now it's got to face the whole pack.
That's the only context provided. And this.
You kicked the stray dog.
See, this is what bothers me, and it should bother everyone. Think about what happens every time someone is brutally mauled by someone's dog, or even by their own dogs at times. For the most part, the world just shrugs its shoulders, chalks it up to statistics, so-called bad training, or owner responsibility, or perhaps lack thereof. And then, the world just moves on. Now sure, naturally these incidents do spark some outrage, but not nearly enough. Dogs getting kicked makes the news often, but people getting bitten by dogs doesn't. Now, just so it's crystal clear, when I say getting bitten, I don't mean when they're bitten to death, which is a mauling. I don't mean when they're brutally attacked to the point that they require hospitalization for serious and life-threatening injuries. What I mean is, when a person is in a public area and someone else's shit beast bites them on the leg, for instance, no one seems to care about that. And of course you all know my stance on this. Anything that does this to people, either in public or private spaces, should not be among us at all. It should not be roaming freely, that is for certain. But it likewise shouldn't be allowed to walk our streets or invade our supermarkets and so on, whether it is on a leash or supposedly trained or not. The dog-brained masses seem to care much more when dogs are being harmed by humans, regardless of prior context. Many news anchors programmatically parrot phrases like,
"Still not exactly clear what led to the attack."
She was attacked by the dogs for an unknown reason.
The details involving how the attack happened remain unknown.
We don't know what turned the dog and why the dog turned on the woman.
And they may never know why it attacked.
Like when they're reporting on yet another mauling by a dog, almost always a bully breed or similar, on a defenseless child or infant, or a grandparent, or really anyone. But nearly no one asked. So for instance, when they see a dog getting kicked, what the dog did before that. The same thing happened when the little crap hound was struck with a rock and killed because it had been menacing a mail carrier. Many dog apologists tried to invoke the dog's small size as a defense for its unwarranted hostility, which, let's remember, the dog's own behavior is the single factor that led to it having a rock hurled towards it. But what would they have said if the dog had been an adult Rottweiler or a bully breed? And would they have been satisfied if instead of killing it, the rock merely repelled it? Would they have had a different reaction if the dog got kicked instead? Of course not. Truth is, dog worshippers don't want any harm to befall a dog, no matter what the dog did first, And even when the dog had it coming, remember. There was the case where a postman kicked a dog that was clearly going after him to bite him. He didn't end the dog's life, unfortunately, in this instance. But dog lovers still weren't satisfied. Now were they? I suppose an ideal scenario for them would have been one where the dog got a free bite on the postman. There was the case where some dog-loving weirdos put a dog in a jail cell with some inmates, and one of them struck the dog because it encroached on his very limited personal space. And I mean, if you're going to be mad at anyone in this scenario, it should be the ones who put the dog in there with some jail inmates, not someone trapped in a tiny room with a hyperactive flea bag with fangs. It's funny how quickly they abandoned the whole blame the owner stock response. It basically comes down to this.
I don't want a dog to touch me. I don't have to let a dog touch me.
No one is under any obligation to allow a dog to interact with them, to approach them, sniff or touch them in any way, or pounce on them. Absolutely no one should ever be required to suffer a dog attack or to give an encroaching dog the benefit of the doubt.
As we know very well, a dog attack can be sudden and without any provocation. In fact, the entire idea of a dog attacking due to provocation shouldn't even be seriously entertained. In reality, it's not a variable or a factor. In the past, I have done videos explaining this at length. There's the fact that, unlike human threats, which can often be de-escalated through communication or avoided through awareness, a dog is not a rational actor and will again attack with zero provocation or motive. There's also the physical disparity between humans and many dog breeds. This makes self-defense challenging, if not impossible in many cases, especially for vulnerable populations. However, the growing presence of these homegrown monsters, coupled with toxic and anti-human pro-dog sentiments, is perhaps what's most problematic. Believe it or not, there are some people who not only seem to be unconcerned with dog-originated violence, they actually seem to believe these violent beasts have some right to launch these brutal attacks upon members of the human population. They either don't care at all about what dogs are doing to people, or they actively enjoy it. And somehow, self-defense against these aggressors is becoming taboo among these misanthropes.
Recently, I was made aware of the case of Aaron Andula. The 13-year-old had been missing for about 2 days before his body was found, roughly half an hour from his home across the state line. Aaron was reportedly mauled by dogs, and his body was disposed of in a ravine in Bates County, Missouri, by the owner of the dogs that mauled him. As I noted in this screenshotted comment, I saw a few different news videos with coverage on this story, and they scarcely mention anything about how he actually died or what it was that killed him.
Lynn County investigators are working to determine how a 13-year-old boy died yesterday morning. Someone reported Aaron Andula missing on Sunday. Searchers quickly began looking for him. Today, deputies arrested his neighbor on a charge of abandonment of a corpse. KCTV5's Morgan Rydell joins us live in the Holiday Lakes community in Lynn County. Morgan, what did you learn?
Well, we spoke with that little boy's family just a few moments ago, and you'll hear their heartbreaking reaction here soon. But court documents say police arrested 47-year-old Damon Leonard yesterday. He told officers he knew where Aaron was. According to those court documents, Leonard led detectives across the state line from here into Missouri. They found the boy's body in rural Bates County. Leonard lives just down the street from Aaron's home. I spoke with Aaron's parents today about their loss. He was an older brother to 2 sisters. The holidays now bring heartbreak for this family.
Crazy. He's never coming home. It's Christmas time. He was such a good boy. He never once got in trouble. He wasn't the rough boy.
Fox 4 got to Damon Leonard's home while homicide detectives with the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department, who will lead this investigation, were still here on the ground. This story starts Sunday about 8 a.m. Aaron Andula went to go let the dogs and chickens out at his best friend's home because that family was out of town. Aaron was reported missing at about 6:20 p.m. that day, launching a large-scale search. According to a probable cause statement out of Bates County, Missouri, Leonard alerted the sheriff's department that Aaron's body was in the county. He would eventually lead investigators to Aaron's body dumped in a ravine. So far, Leonard has been charged with abandonment of a corpse.
And I asked him, how did he die? And they said that he was attacked by animals. Found in the woods, attacked by animals.
So wait, he went to go let some dogs out, and a couple of days later, he was found far from the property and supposedly attacked by animals. What animals are they talking about? Of course we know the answer. So, one of the things I dislike about having to do this kind of activism is that the phone never stops ringing with bad news. There's no shortage of straight-up horror stories coming out of the dog world, pretty much every day now. Take, for instance, this case from April where 6 pit bulls killed a 4-year-old girl after the woman who was babysitting her died of a medical emergency. Now, I want to stress this point. Although this is from earlier this year, and in a matter of days this will be another of last year's attacks, stories like these are constantly coming out. I was made aware of this story after Sheepy's Web posted it about a day ago, and many have shared multiple stories on my channel in general recently, which is in addition to some of the stuff I found myself. Point being, it's honestly incredible that such a common source of terror, misery, terrorism, premature death, and life-altering injury would continue to be given a pass. After all, it's hard to keep up with this stuff, and if you go looking for evidence of dogs ending and negatively altering human lives, you'll certainly find no shortage of material. And even when you don't, these stories find you nonetheless. We could even isolate it to instances proving just how dangerous dogs are to children alone, and seriously question why dogs aren't treated like so many other products on the market that have been recalled for being unsafe for public use or consumption, which is putting it mildly. Dogs are even worse than just defective products. After all, they have a will of their own. Look at this terrible comment from Calicat9492. It is typical of a dog-defending troglodyte.
What did this woman do for the dog to respond in that way? The dog felt threatened.
So if I'm walking around at the mall and I feel threatened by one of these dog nutters, I am justified in kicking them in the face? Somehow, I don't think they would accept that as valid. And I mean seriously, who gives a shit what a dog feels or what you say it feels? After all, you can't actually know. But the real point is this. Dogs are no judges of character. They are not our wardens, our overseers, our police, or our overlords. Their aggression against us should not be tolerated, and the fact that they exhibit so much of it is precisely why we need to stop allowing people to own these foul beasts as pets, or utilize them for supposed security. Yeah, I've never heard of a security dog either.
I haven't got a brain, only straw.
How can you talk if you haven't got a brain?
I don't know. But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they?
Reddit dedicated to this crazy hate of dogs.
Just the fact that dogs exist
bother these people to their very core and ruin their day.
Except it's not just the fact that they exist. It's what dogs do, or to put it another way, their existence wouldn't be a problem if they didn't do what dogs tend to do.
True.
That's 3 true for 3 more $10,000. And one of the things I find so interesting about this program is that you'll answer something like that and invariably the audience will applaud. That's right, don't give food to homeless, give it to the dog.
They just look at you with the cute puppy faces, and then you have somebody who's got a really nasty, dirty face. It's like,
Somehow I don't feel better now that you've cleared it up there, Lauren.
Dog culture is completely backward. It is regressive, primitive, archaic, self-effacing, and delusional. It is impractical, and it is an imposition. It affects and afflicts people from all walks of life, all across the globe.
An 8-year-old boy is spending the days before Thanksgiving in the hospital.
Can't resolve a dispute with your neighbors over their barking dog.
This woman chooses to walk away.
Dog that got loose mauled a 5-year-old boy playing in his cousin's backyard.
That, and a whole lot more, that is what we are forced to live with. And of course, we have gone over all of it at great length. What started as nothing more than a tool, and which is still just basically an obsolete working animal, has morphed into a household pet.
Of course.
Dogs were not widely accepted as pets until around the late Middle Ages. Unfortunately, the domestic dog is far from just a pet today. It is a substitute for human companionship, and an inadequate replacement for friends and family, a walking accessory, a captive audience, a living weapon, a security blanket, and an emotional crutch. The dog of today is something for the maniacal to hoard, collect, and utilize in questionable ways. It is something for pathetic people to parade about and use to garner attention. It is also a source of profit and narcissistic supply. This point is super important, so I really do have to reiterate it. There's no good reason to own a dog at all in this day and age, especially if you are living in the city. This obscene, extreme, and most unseemly culture continues to proliferate, but it is impossible to justify, and the costs are simply way too high. Again, just from a public health and safety standpoint, dogs are awful. And ultimately, the core issue is, as always, the presence of dogs itself.